Jess and Robin with Patriot Group doing coffee with the Realtor today. On Wednesday this time.
We are on Wednesday. Last week we didn't know what day of the week it was. It's okay though. At least we're here.
We are going to wait for some people to join us. We'll start off with the coffee drawing for last week.
Oh yeah. Okay.
We got our numbers. Get people excited.
Got Bruno Mars playing.
You guys can win a coffee card by putting a comment in the comment box below or asking us a question. So just engage with us and we will enter you in a chance to win a coffee card. I think, and we have Starbucks and Dunkin'.
We have Starbucks, but I can't get Dunkin'.
Okay.
I have no problems ever going to Dunkin' Donuts.
Awesome. So we have options here.
And Starbucks and Dunkin' and 7-Elevens are
Yeah.
everywhere. Right?
The Sheets Wawa debate.
Sheets, yeah. It's just amazing. Just wish I owned one of them.
No kidding.
Especially
No.
Starbucks out front. I mean, that thing has a line like Chick-fil-A all day long.
So when Johnny was in the Army, him and his buddy had a chance to buy a Chick-fil-A franchise. And, and they were like, who would eat only chicken? And now they're like, why? Why?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. A good, 16 years ago at this point.
Travis and his parents know because they own them.
Yeah. Oh.
All right, who's out there? It's Wednesday. Come on, bring it. Let's see the questions. Let's talk about lots of different things in real estate every Wednesday. Today was going to be a commission day, so this is a hot topic for a lot of people. Money going in, money going out.
Yeah.
So we thought we'd address that today. Is anyone out there?
Get these raffle names mixed up really well. Who's winning our coffee card?
Don't pick just the color-coded one. Turn your head, right?
Yeah.
All right.
All right, let's see. Robin, you want to draw?
All right.
Got them all. Nope.
No,
Okay.
right?
Nope, we're good.
Wednesday.
All right, let's see who's winning coffee this week. All right.
Oh, I did get a color.
Okay. Oh, this is like glued shut.
Ollie!
Thanks for joining us last week. You get your coffee card, so we will make sure to reach out to you, let you know you won.
We hope you're here, Ollie.
Yeah.
You want some coffee? You better be drinking it in front of me.
So, awesome. For those of you guys just joining us, if you want to win a coffee card, ask us some questions. Drop us questions below. Shout us a little wave. Let us know you're here. And today we're going to talk about commissions. So, we'll get started.
Yeah. All right, y'all.
We'll calm down the jam.
Okay, we're going to talk about commissions today. Who pays it? Why they pay it? Who gets paid? What do we get paid?
Yeah.
All kinds of things. So, when we sit down, we talk about a listing agreement with the seller. The seller pays the commission.
Mm-hmm.
So, everybody wants to know, well, if the buyer's representation is representing the buyer, why doesn't the buyer pay it? So that's a good question. I mean, I don't know what answers that you produce to that.
Yeah. So when a listing agent secures a commission, X to one side, X to the other.
Right.
A lot of people, we recently had, actually Anne's husband was recently asking the really good question, like Robin just said, isn't that kind of going against if, the buyer's agent is supporting the buyer, why is the seller paying the buyer's agent?
Right.
That's a great question. And it's just honestly the way it's been for so long.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if there's a really, really solid answer. And it just rolls downhill. So maybe you're the buyer this time and your representation is getting paid by the seller and it's free for you to use a buyer's agent. And next time around when you go to sell, you're going to pay it forward essentially. But why is that?
The seller's got a product. They've got a product to sell. Yeah. So they got a product to sell. They're going to pay to have that product sold. So
Absolutely.
That's the way that I've always looked at it.
Mm-hmm.
And we see various types of commission across the board.
Yeah.
And that's okay too. There's nothing wrong with that. So we see a lot of that, but a lot of those commissions are all the commissions are negotiable, but some of them we see are lower than others because they've negotiated some services or lack thereof.
Right.
So you may not get most of the services, or you may get all of the services. It really all depends on the series of information that the seller's agent produces or that person produces.
Absolutely.
To find out what am I paying for?
Right.
What am I paying your commission for? What am I paying the buyer's commission for? How do we
Right.
secure this and get
Right.
the seller closed in their chapter of life? So that's important,
Absolutely.
right? I mean, we all have a house to sell at one point in time, and that's
Right.
utterly important. And we're not exempt from selling seller's commission either, or buyer's commission. We're not
Right.
exempt from that. So we have to engage in that process as well.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, Robin and I both sold last
Yes.
year our own personal residences, and we both paid our buyer's agents
Yes.
full commission.
Full
It's a
commission.
full 3%.
yeah,
Because it's important. We value that buyer's agent.
we do. But there's so many great agents that are out here in this area.
Yeah.
And they work hard. I mean, they hustle. We hustle. We get information that we normally wouldn't get any other time.
Right.
We dig, we grind, we get you to the goal line if
Right.
that's your mission.
Yeah.
And we find out if the house is suitable for you, right? I mean, it looks good from the surface, but it's almost like
Yeah.
24 karat gold. It's
Right.
sometimes we have to dig, uncover, open up the canvas, and that's what we're paying for as sellers, right?
Absolutely.
We're paying the buyer's agent to sell our house. We know we got a good product,
Right.
and we're going to pay for that information and get that contract secured and get it to the closing table. So that's really what it comes down to.
Yeah. Well, and the listing agent has the seller has a vested interest. They want a good buyer's agent who's going to get the deal to settlement.
Yes.
They if you pay the buyer's agent, you're helping them. You're giving them something they want.
Right.
So they're going to do their due diligence to get the house to settlement, to make sure that negotiations, like we talked about the other week, go smoothly.
Yeah.
So it's in everybody's best interest to move forward. Brandy says, Robin, I remember you sold a home on Christmas.
Yes. Thank you. Yes. I'm always working. You know that because you used to work with me. Yes. I've worked New Year's Eve, New Year's Day,
Yeah.
Thanksgiving Eve when I was hosting
Yeah.
multiple people
Yeah.
at the house on Thanksgiving Day. So yeah, inevitably that's what it is. But I think that's work ethic.
Yeah.
It's not going to stop. It just drives me to higher limits. But so yes, you
Yeah.
know me so well.
Well, something you mentioned earlier too, Robin, was that so the seller's paying the buyer's agent, and we see a lot of ranges on what that payment might be.
Yes.
The buyer's agent might be getting paid 2% to 4%,
Mhm.
and how do you think that affects the sale of a home?
Well, I mean, if you really look at it as a seller,
Right.
and I'm just putting taking the real estate hat off and putting
Yeah.
my ownership hat back on,
Yeah.
that is that if there's two houses identical side by side across the
Sure.
street, one has a 2.5% commission and one has a 3% commission. I think the theory is that people think that we don't show that other house because of that is inaccurate information. Period. We go after and sell every house regardless of what the commission is.
Absolutely.
Now, if that was the case and they showed both homes, would they sway one way or the other? Again, a misnomer. It's not accurate. But I personally, as an owner, wanted to make sure that I put my best hat forward. Get a good marketing price, great agent, obviously,
Right.
and paid that buyer's agent the full commission
Yes.
because I know how hard they work.
Absolutely.
So having said all that, because they're the ones that going through the inspections and push in whatever needs to be pushed through.
Yeah.
I know how hard an agent works for you. It's
Absolutely.
it's a dying job. It's tough. It's not always easy, but
Yeah.
that's my thought process on
Yeah.
ownership minus the real estate hat. So yeah, I want to make sure we get the sale done because I don't want to own
Absolutely.
2 homes and pay 2 mortgages
Yeah.
if I don't have to.
Yeah.
Because
Absolutely.
otherwise I'm going to be paying it out anyways, right? If the house is
Absolutely.
vacant, I'm going to be paying more in commission, or
Yeah.
I'm going to be paying more in the house payment,
yeah,
right? In the next couple of
exactly.
months if the house doesn't sell. So I want to
Yeah.
make sure that I get my best foot forward. So
Yeah.
that's the way I did that.
Yeah, when we sold, we felt the same way. You know, we
Mhm.
wanted to have a 3% out there, a full commission.
Yeah.
Because even if an agent would be showing both homes, you know, colonial can be a colonial can be a colonial. We were in Leeds Hill. There's a huge competition in there.
Yeah.
And but I also wanted an agent who was not only going to show it, but who was also going to fight for the contract all the way through. So I wanted to make sure that agent felt incentivized
Yep.
to make sure to, when the home inspection came back or radon or any number of those pain points came through, the agent could have a level head on and not just say, okay, yeah, cool, let's walk away.
Yeah.
You know, they
Yeah,
can just
and that's
say,
accurate.
let's come to the table,
Mhm.
let's take emotion out of it, and I knew that we would get that. Leanne's asking a question here. If your home was a short sale, will it affect the price when you go to sell?
Well, that's a good question. And hey there, haven't seen you in a few days. Love to see you. That's a very good question because I just talked to another owner about that because they have a foreclosure, which we thought foreclosures were gone. They're not. They're still out here. They're not in droves like they were back in 08 and 09, thank God.
Right.
But they're out here. So does that affect the neighborhood comps? It does. Appraisers give value for your house not being in a foreclosure, so they'll take the difference and give you the difference on it. Same thing with a short sale, pre-foreclosure. They'll give you the difference, but it does drag the market down, right? Because if you think about it, back in 08, your neighborhood started going down because of all the foreclosures and short sales. So people were walking away from their properties, in essence, or people were short selling their properties saying, hey, bank, we want to work with you. We want to get our house sold, but we owe
Right.
more than what we than what we can get in the market value.
Mm-hmm.
So that did affect the neighborhood, right? Because if not, then we would all be escalating still up and nothing would be coming down.
Right.
So it came down to reasonableness, I guess. And yes, so in essence,
Yeah.
a short sale, a foreclosure does affect the neighborhood.
So what if you bought a foreclosure or short sale, and then 5 years down the, you've done your repairs or you've done your
Yeah.
fixing up, depending on the status of the house when you bought it, and then you go to sell it 5 years down the road. Will buying it at a discount up front because of that short sale affect your home value?
No, you know what I say? Good for you.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Yeah.
You did what probably most people want to do.
Yeah.
Be there at the right place at the right time, buy a great value, and turn around and flip it in 5 years and make decent money.
Absolutely.
So if you're in that position, which a lot of people have been, winning.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Winning doesn't affect it. Doesn't affect it at all. Now, the only thing that I could think that I've seen affect things are like title work way back. So you're getting a closing.
Right.
The title company runs title work, and they find an unreleased trust back in the dark days of the foreclosure. That means whoever was out here, there was numerous amounts of lenders.
Yeah.
They didn't record it with the county, so it was never released. So you have this $200,000 note still hanging on the
Right.
house that you
Right.
didn't know about as the owner because you don't pay attention to that.
Right.
And it's not like somebody knocks on the door and says, hey, we have an unreleased trust.
Yeah.
It's been paid off, but it just hasn't been recorded with county. So county has to record it. And the title company demands it because they can't move forward with your sale of your house. So yeah,
Right.
that's really all I see about
Yeah.
foreclosures and
Well,
short sales.
if you think about investors, right? Investors buy homes on the courthouse steps for
Yep.
really, really
Yeah.
cheap in cash. They flip them, they do all the changes,
Mm-hmm.
and they sell them for significant profits. And they're able to do that because there is no consequence. As long as the comps around the home
Yes.
support it,
Yes.
that's the biggest issue. Most appraisers, to my knowledge, are not going to dig back 5 years and go, oh, you bought it as a short sale.
No, yeah.
Let's penalize
Well,
you.
they're probably
No.
going to know that. They're already
Yeah.
going to know that by seeing the price tag then, seeing it now, and seeing the significant difference, if there is any. Sometimes there's not. Sometimes they bought it as a foreclosure, but
Yeah.
the bank was smart enough to say, look, the market value's up here. This is what we
Right.
want, and we're not settling for anything less than that. They'll buy it back on the courthouse steps
Right.
and turn around and sell it themselves.
Right.
Same foreclosure, but they'll sell it themselves. Maybe at a
Yeah.
little discounted rate, but not so far that you think you're getting the deal of the century.
Right.
So the lenders are a lot smarter nowadays.
We got one more question. How does Craigslist listing affect you as an agent with your client wanting to buy it? I will always have a realtor agent. How
Yeah.
does Craigslist listing?
Well, the Craigslist, such a good question because we don't really talk about that too much.
Yeah.
Because, what we've seen in the past and even up to today, every time you open up the cavity of the internet, you're either going to get good, the bad, the ugly. So open it up to a house that we have up for sale at Century 21, and then it hits all internet sites. Excuse me for a second. It's all internet sites. And predators are out there, so they pull it and then they start exploiting it in a different way, right? And somebody knocks on the door and says, "Hey, you got to rental up for $1,000," but really, it's a house that's up for sale for $460,000, right? So that kind of thing. So I mean, Craigslist is good. I'm not going to say that it's not. I think that it helps a lot of people in a lot of ways. But I think if I'm answering it correctly, the marketing that you have that's local. The local hot MLS that we have with real estate agents here in this area with our multiple listing is the best source to get accurate, up-to-date information readily at your fingertips. So,
well, and on the seller side, if you're a seller and you're using Craigslist, maybe you're a for sale by owner.
Oh yeah, probably.
You know, so what does that look like when an agent comes to you and says, "I have a client who would like to buy your house"? And then that's up to that seller. You know, a lot of for sale by owners do offer a small amount of commission, but some of them don't because they don't see the value in a realtor.
Right.
They've maybe had a really negative experience in the past, like a lot of us probably have, because like in any industry, you have your top 1% and then you have everybody else. I know I personally have had that experience in the past. So I think that if you, as a client, it becomes a conversation between the client and the realtor. The realtor finds out the information up front and then goes back to the client and says, "Look, you're in a right to represent agreement with me for X percentage." And now the seller normally pays that, but this seller is refusing. So that means it's on you guys. Do you want to go see this house or not? And then it really becomes, it's not our deal at that point. It's really up to the client to decide how they want to handle it. If they love the house, then we'll make it work.
And I think that if you're talking about commission and the buyer paying the commission, let's face it, folks, this day and age, if you're being unrepresented in any fashion, whatever it is, making those big dollar sales, you're either going to pay it up front and get the representation that you need, or something's going to slip up in the back end, and next thing you know, you don't have representation and you have something else going on that could have been picked up by a real estate agent. So you know, it behooves you to pay that real estate agent to represent you. Thousands today, multiple thousands later. It's almost like getting a septic inspection and not. I don't want to deal with the crap.
Do you want to like
so
just
speak.
You know, buy a grab bag? I mean, that's kind of what you're looking at. And hey, Ollie just hopped on. Ollie, you won the coffee card for last week.
Boom!
So we will make sure to track you down and give you free money.
Awesome. But that's a good question. I mean, you know, a lot of people don't understand that. I think that what we do is we sit our buyers down and explain that process to them. So if they come across a for sale by owner that they drive by, it's in the neighborhood, it's in mom and dad's neighborhood, it's in my cousin's neighborhood that they've wanted to be in, then, you know, it comes back to us to navigate and work with that seller to try to get the mission accomplished.
Absolutely. So it becomes a real education piece for us. We have to really educate them onto why it's important to work with us. If we have a willing and able buyer, you know, educating that for sale by owner on why they should use an agent. And honestly, statistically, most for sale by owners eventually list with an agent and end up paying both sides of the commission anyways,
after losing all that time as well, and maybe even reducing the sales price of their house because they've overinflated, thought they were going to get it, got frustrated, got an agent, and then started doing the marketing process. Or in fact, what we've seen a lot of times is the for sale by owner go up, the price tag's too low, and they could have gotten so much more, paid the agent, and still had money in their pocket to move in the direction they were going. So it's a grab bag, and I think that a lot of time we're probably going to do a for sale by owner segment on a Wednesday though. So that's a good question.
Yeah, we should do that. Stay tuned next week. We'll hit for the for sale by owner topic a little heavier. And kind of let you guys know about how we help for sale by owners and how we work with them too. So let's circle back around to the commission section. So we kind of discussed who pays the commission. So what happens to the commission that goes to the agents?
Good.
So, because everyone's like, man, they see that line, the seller sees the line, the buyer sees that line at closing on the settlement statement, and they're going, and their eyes are bugging out thinking that we're just out here, you know, going crazy. Where does that, so, you know, a chunk is written on that settlement sheet to the brokerage. So for us, it says, you know, X dollar amount to Century 21 New Millennium. So what happens after New Millennium or whatever brokerage receives those funds?
Okay, so let's just do it in a simplistic form. So a brokerage gets $2,000. If the agent is on a 50-50 split,
Mm-hmm.
then there's several things that deduct from that $2,000.
So let's back up real quick.
Okay.
So you mentioned a split.
Right.
So what most people I don't think probably know is that we don't get 100%. We
No.
split with our brokerage.
Right.
And agents are on a sliding scale generally, depending on their brokerage.
Right.
So maybe they're at a 50-50 or 70-30. Some lucky agents are at 100%, but they're paying money out of pocket monthly.
Right.
There's different
Variables.
Yeah, there's different variables in place
Mhm.
depending on the brokerage and the
Right.
agent and their production levels. It's kind of like Delta airline miles. You know, the more you fly, the higher the class. And that's kind
Right.
of what the split is for a lot of brokerages. So the money comes in.
Yep.
We're gonna just use $2,000 in a 50-50 split as an example.
Yeah, so that $2,000 has franchise fees and has maybe BPOL tax or anything else that the company demands the deductions for.
Right.
So in our case, it's a franchise fee and a tax going back to business.
Yeah.
So you get those two, you deduct those two, and then you do your 50-50 split, right? If you're on a 50-50 split. And so that 50% then gets processed through with anything that you may owe and fees that you may have done marketing with, or
Yeah.
you owe real estate fees somewhere,
Admin fees.
E&O insurance, or whatever the case may be that you owe the company, that will then get deducted from that. So guess what? You probably got enough to make your car payment.
Right.
So it's a lot more than what people out here think it is.
Mm-hmm.
Love our job. Absolutely love this
Absolutely.
job. And love Century 21 New Millennium. It's just one of those things that if you want to get educated about real estate, commission, how it works, what gets paid, who gets paid, that's how that gets split. The agent always has
Hey,
a split with the company.
Yeah.
That's it. I mean, it really
Yeah.
comes down to when people see that big number thinking, I'm not giving that agent all that money. That person didn't do their job, blah, 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 blah. Well,
Right.
we're not in that position to take all that money. It doesn't come in our name.
Yeah.
It definitely comes into
Yeah.
the brokerage's name, and then they split it with us in that fashion.
So it sounds like the money's coming in. The brokerage is getting a piece.
Yep.
Taxes are getting a piece. There's
Yep.
something called BPOL that our agents we all pay. You might be paying a franchise fee. So
Yep.
because we're under Century 21, we pay a franchise fee. Not all brokerages have that.
Yep.
We have we personally have an admin fee that we pay our office. So all of that comes out, and then we get this lump sum. And then we're contractors. We're
Right.
1099 contractors.
Right,
We're
right.
not a W-2. So then out of that money, 30 or 40% goes to the federal government for taxes. So if you look at that pie slice, like we're down to the tip, and that's what we as agents get to take home and keep and like have for spending money. It's a lot different than a 9-to-5 W-2 employee who gets their taxes taken out. They choose
Right.
their deductions and bing bang boom, and then they maybe pay a little bit, or maybe they get money back at the end. That would be pretty
Right.
pretty awesome.
Yeah, but that's pretty much how that goes. So I mean, in my eyes, if I was the seller, taking my real estate hat off again, as I've done on my own house, I put a bonus on that baby, man. These
Yeah.
agents out here work like mad, and they're working to get these houses sold. Maybe not all of them. I don't think we're all the same. But there are a lot of great agents in this area that work like mad,
Yeah.
and they deserve that and more.
Yeah.
And I'm proud to be part of who they are and what they're doing, and working with them side by side. So kudos to the commission. I think
Yeah.
that's a good plug. It's
Yeah.
it's a big it's in the game, and we wish we had it all. If that was the case, then it'd be somewhat of a different story.
Yeah.
Maybe not for us, because we do the same thing all the time. But maybe a game changer, a difference
Yeah.
in getting your house sold. I don't know.
Ollie mentions I had people use brokerages taking only 1% commission to sell, but they were not happy. There were fine print that came with the 1%, and it's the seller's responsibility to read and understand. That's awesome to point that out. There are a lot of discount brokerages popping up. And not to name any names, of course, but they run very differently. So some of them, they're able to do a 1%, but their agents are actually salary. They're W-2 employees. They're not like we are. They're not relying
That's
100%
true.
on
Yeah.
that commission.
Yeah.
Also, sometimes depending on the brokerage, the services differ. So sometimes when you list with a full service, agency, you're getting a lot higher level of service. You're getting nights, you're getting weekends, you're getting text message access, you're getting all these different access points that you may or may not get in with somebody who's taking a much, a huge pay cut. Because of course, to make up for that pay cut, you have to make up in volume. And so it just really depends. There's the right fit for everybody, and for everybody's goals,
whatever their needs are. I mean, that's what really comes down to. If money is the object, and you're willing as a seller to reduce to get that volume in the door at the bottom line, you may end up reducing anyways, regardless at the back end, because of non-negotiable skills on the agent that you're using, because of that 1%. So if you're fee for service, it may be contact the owner. Don't contact me. The owner negotiates everything, and if that was the case, then it's you're negotiating your own contract, and that's okay too. If you want to do that, that's entirely up to you. But there's times where, like today, I've got we have put a house up for sale, a week ago, and we have 2 offers on the property. So those 2 offers now are going to start to be worked by us, trying to get that highest and best offer in the door, right? So it could possibly go higher at that point in time. So that's what we do. That's our job, and we're happy to do it, and we're happy to give you more money as a seller. If you're on as a seller, thinking about being a seller, we're happy to get that for you. We work very hard, as a lot of people do, and we'll fight for whatever you're looking for.
And please, if you guys have questions or watching this afterwards, or you've come in late, make sure you watch the live replay. We'll post that right after we wrap. Ask questions down below. We'll answer them. They won't be live anymore, but we will answer them as we go.
You'll still have your name in the little cup like Ollie did.
Yep. And so we do this every Wednesday at 8 o'clock. And as you can tell, we're very, very open and frank people. So we would love to answer your questions. Feel free to call us or email us after the fact. And we'd be happy to chat with you. So
make it a great day. It's Wednesday. It's a great day to be alive.
It's a short week.
For y'all. For y'all it is. Okay, thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. See you later.